This is LP Giobbi.
Listen up, children.
You are listening to Femme House Radio.
I said listen up, children.
On Diplo's Revolution, Sirius XM.
A wonderful night is made as much by the dancers as the music. Guided as much by the spirit of joy in the room as by the hand which reaches for the next record. Each of us has a role in tonight's experience. We all play in the band.
This is LP Giobbi, and I founded Femme House, a 501c3 foundation and educational platform that teaches the technical areas of music making for women, non-binary, trans, and other marginalized gender identities. Every week, I will be interviewing and spotlighting women in music while bringing you the best dance tunes from around the world. Okay, so it's Ashibah, right?
Yes.
Is that how?
Yeah.
I want to make sure. Okay, great. So where in the world are you?
I just came back to Copenhagen. That's where I'm based, in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Oh, you're not in Brazil.
I just came back 2 days ago.
Oh my God, let me make a note of that.
I was just on tour.
You're in Copenhagen.
Right, I was just on tour November, December, in Brazil mostly, yeah. So that's usually where I am most of the time because I have we've built a really great fan base there, which is amazing. Brazil is so Brazil is so huge. That's what's so amazing about it. You can just stay there all year and never hit the same cities twice. So it's really nice. Yeah.
That is so. It was so funny. I was what I'm about to say is humiliating, but I was feeling kind of burnt out recently, the maybe end of the year, and I just come back from Australia, and then from Australia straight to Europe, which was like a 40-hour to get to Ibiza, and then back to the U.S., and then my final run was in South America, and I was like on the phone, like crying with my mom at the airport, like just like so tired and like shaking and crying. And she's like, I mean, do you really need to do South America? Like maybe that's the continent you don't need. Like, just don't worry about that continent. I'm like, you're right. So stupid. I show up there.
Yeah.
Best shows. I'm like, actually, fuck every other continent. This is like, truly. Do I ever need to go back to Europe? Or it's like, it is, the shows were mind blowing.
There's such a unique energy there there's a very unique love for music and for going out and enjoying themselves. Like mostly I've been in Brazil, but especially like Brazilians, they have this, when you land there, there's this rhythm in the country, there's this positive vibe, and like I've never played anywhere in the world that's like Brazil. Never in my life have I experienced crowds like Brazil. It's insane. It's just insane. And people are so loyal, and people are so like into electronic music. And when you go there, and when you play, they're so they're just ready for you to take them somewhere, which is the best vibe that you just would want as a DJ or on a stage. Is that energy, open energy to like, I'm here and I'm really excited to hear what you're going to show me. I love that. That's for me everything.
Not like play Drake.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with Drake.
Nothing wrong with Drake.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, God bless him. But the journey, man, that's so awesome. So do you have a live set, or do you mainly tour as a DJ? But is there? I mean, I know you're a vocalist, so is there some sort of?
It's just funny because I've never. It's always a live set. It's live vocals, and then I started using the DJS sampler, which I know you also use, which I love.
Yes!
And I'm starting to attach my Innovation Peak that's on next tour. I just have to the DJS sampler, so I use it as a MIDI controller to kind of connect that way around. So yeah, and try to play some fun stuff.
Oh, so you use like the brain of your synth, and then you control it with the DJS?
Yeah, the MIDI clock syncs with everything. So if I have it, it's fucking amazing. So. Can I say fucking? Sorry, I'm so sorry.
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Okay,
you can say fucking. Wait, that is okay. So you're using CDJs still, plus the DJS, plus your vocals, plus the synth.
The synth's coming in the next tour if I can get everything to work right. But yes, that's the idea. I
find what I've started finally. I kept telling myself I'd wanted to do this more and more, but finally I'm pushing myself to. I route my keyboard through the DJS so I can add effects. I have the shittiest keyboard ever, so I can add effects and make it sound a little better. But finally, because it's all sunk, finally starting to record in like just if the track is in the key of C, record in and hold one long C, and then go to the scale mode and make my own sequences. Chopping it up and repitching those, and then looping that. So just sort of using my keyboard to then live loop over it's been so
It is
fun.
when you start opening that door, because my issue's always been, because I've always played with CDJs. Well, I played with vinyls way back, but CDJs made things so much easier.
Sick.
So I started playing with CDJs, and especially when I was doing vocals and everything. Because I tried to switch my setup different ways. Then I started adding a push, like I did everything through Ableton, and I had like a live, and then I was like, no, because the most important thing is the connection with the crowd, and it was starting to take my eye contact away from the crowd, and that was like, that's the one thing. If it starts affecting that too much, then I need to remove something, because that means that I'm not completely there. So for me, that's like,
that is
it's so important to that.
Oh, it's so nice to hear, because I've gone back and forth, like, should I just go to Ableton Live and get rid of the But yeah, I found that I've never really seen a single person electronic show with turning knobs that was that engaging to me yet, so unless you have an insane production or whatever. So I feel you on that, and I'm so excited that you used I was really hoping the DJS would get more commonly backlined. I thought it would become like a standard, and most places do have it, but sometimes it's been an issue. They've been like Cordoba couldn't figure it out. So
it's funny, a lot of places
you do what you can.
You would think, because I thought exactly the same as you. I thought that it was going to start being a standard, because it's a pioneer. It's a pioneer product, that it shouldn't be so difficult.
Syncs with it, super fun to play with.
But it was really difficult for us to find. So I kind of rented my own and took it on tour. So we just had it with us, because I was just like, at least now I know that it's updated firmware, everything's updated.
Totally.
Totally.
Yeah, we were doing that, and then we got lazy, but we should really probably do it again. It's stressful the day of the show. They're like, oh, you needed that on your, you needed that on your writer? Like, yeah, that's why it's on my writer, man.
My worst part, what happens to me, which is really frustrating, is because we have a writer and it's super detailed. There's even a diagram, a very pretty diagram that I've made myself. So I made it as simple as possible. But mic stand. Like, how difficult is it for you to remember? I need both my hands to use my hands. I can't. Totally. And I've tried so many times that I don't have a mic stand, and they're like, yeah, but can't you just hold the mic in your hand? I'm like, the whole point is for me not to use my hands here, but to actually use them there. So
that would be like, here, there's no keyboard stand. Like, what, I couldn't, you want me to hold the keyboard, which does happen sometimes. So it's so funny. Oh,
sharing war stories.
The road. War stories on the road. We could talk about them forever. So how do you find new music? Where do you find new music? And create dig for your sets. And then my favorite question of all time: how do you organize your music in record? I assume you're using Rekordbox.
I am, yes, because it makes my life a lot easier. Or in general, it's funny. There's different ways where I find music. One thing that's great is I'm in this amazing group on WhatsApp in Brazil. That's only female artists from Brazil. There's like 300, or like, I don't even know, actually. There's so many female artists that are in this group. It's called Somos. Cool. And all the girls send their music there. So we share all our music together, and we so there's a lot that I find there. If there's some of the girls have released something, they send me promos and stuff. So that's one of the spots that I find music. Which it's very cool. And a lot of the time, it's actually, I love going through charts, like different DJs and artists that I like, labels that I like, their charts to see what are they feeling right now, what is their, and of course the third one is like, we all you have such a big, beautiful network in the electronic music world. So I try to send promos to people and ask them for promos and try to share as much as I can. So that's also another way that I think is one of my favorite ways to do it, because there's so much music out there, and it's so difficult, and it takes so long to navigate through it. Yeah.
Dude, it's a full-time job, just crate digging. So yes. And then how do I organize it? There's no point in crate digging if you can't recall. So how do you organize?
It's funny, because I'm a real really organized freak with that kind of stuff. You should see how many to-do lists I have. I have a list for my lists kind of situation. So
you sound like me.
Can you hear me? Oh, your internet froze all of a sudden. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're back.
All right.
Okay, great.
So yes, it's funny. I've never actually thought about how I actually organize. I have like a lot of folders, and I usually organize my live tracks by themselves. I have different versions of my live tracks and all my tracks and all my edits. So it's mostly by genre usually, and there's so many genres now that are like interconnecting. So that has started becoming a problem for me right now, because there'd be a track where I'm like, this could be tech house, but it could also be progressive. So what am I going to do with that? So now I started organizing them by tour.
Okay.
By region.
So you kind of know, like, I got this track over this time. And okay, that interesting. I started organizing it by where I would play it. Like, my crate names are like 4 a.m. Tulum, uplifting. Or you know, like I think of like the location and time that I would potentially play this record, but again, you know, that it completely changes based on the energy of the dance floor. So sometimes it works, and sometimes it. I have the funny names for my crate are for my crates, so it's hilarious. I'd be so embarrassed if somebody looked at them.
But it's changed over the years.
So I'm always trying to know, like, what is the best way?
It changed for me over the years.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, I started by genres at some point, and then I was like, same. My tracks and my edits and everything, they have their own, because I need to have them organized. Also my live tracks. Because, for example, I'll give you an example. I'll go somewhere where the sound system maybe isn't super accommodating when it comes to live vocals, which is something that I experience a lot. So I have different versions of the live tracks depending on what kind of sound system I'm at. So,
Totally, like lowered vocal, maybe more raised vocal.
Exactly.
Totally
completely instrumental.
Depending on the environment.
You know,
Smart.
Just so I have like,
Wow.
So
that is extreme preparation. Very impressed with that. And you just truly never know what the sound system is going to be until you walk up there. So
you don't.
Smart.
And I also spent like about 6 months testing microphones, which kind of microphones that would work and I've actually found the perfect one that works, and recommended it to. I live on the same aisle in the studio here with Who Made Who they're right next to me. Yeah.
Oh, amazing!
And those guys, we share a lot of war stories because they do live setup too. So they'll be like, "Hey, we tried this. This does not work." I was like, "Hey, try this one. This might work."
They have. Oh, I didn't realize they had a live setup. Oh,
they have
cool.
An even bigger live setup than I do. So yeah. So it's.
Oh, I need to check. I love.
No, they're amazing. They're amazing, and they're great guys. They're such cool guys. We share, like, we have 2 rooms, and we'll come in. He'll be like, "Hey, can I take this synth?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead. Can I borrow that synth?" Like, we just kind of like exchange stuff. Yeah.
How fun!
Yeah, cool.
Oh, that's the dream. So I'm in Austin. There's no other electronic artists here. I mean, there's a few, but it's mostly live music scene. Okay, so I'm going to now read a little blurb intro on you, and then ask you a few questions, just like 3 or 4 max questions, and that whole part is only 5 minutes, and that's what lives on the radio show, and then the rest of this will live on YouTube and things like that. So, okay, recording, great. You are with LP Giobbi on Femme House Radio, and this week we have producer, singer, and DJ Ashibah, who hails from Denmark with roots in Egypt and now lives in Copenhagen. After first breaking through with a collaboration with Nora and Pure, her rise continued after her track Devotion landed at number 4 on Beatport, with support from such artists as Sam Divine, Gorgon City, and David Penn. Her tracks have been played by Danny Howard and Charlie Hedges on BBC Radio 1, as well as Capital Dance and Kiss FM, and she has released on Defected's D4 Dance, Realm Records, and Armada, to name a few. Her latest EP came out on Lane 8's This Never Happened, and she has performed all over the world, including Lollapalooza and Rock in Rio in South America, High Amnesia in Ibiza, and festivals like Distortion and Summerburst. Ashibah, welcome to Femme House Radio. It is an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. What an intro. Thanks so much for that.
Quite impressive. Tell us your origin story. How did you get into producing, singing, and DJing?
Well, I grew up in Cairo, actually. I was born in Denmark, but we moved to Cairo when I was 2, and I was always singing since I was a kid. So actually my musical journey started with vocals. And so when I started getting older and I moved back to Copenhagen around the age of 18, I started working with producing vocals and recording and making top lines and so on. And from there, I was like, that was kind of like, okay, that's not enough. I need to have an influence on the productions, and I wanted to be more. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I was like, okay, I got to learn the whole 360 if I want to work with music. So I started producing, and I'm still learning. You never stop learning to produce. So yeah, it kind of went hand to hand. But I started DJing actually back in high school, way back, and those dances that we used to have when we were in high school, those.
Yes.
And then I kind of, when I got to Copenhagen, I started getting into the club scene and started DJing here, and that kind of took off from there. So they were like two different like journeys, and then they kind of collided at some point, and I was like, hey, why don't I add my live vocals and do a live setup to my DJ setup? And then here we are.
Oh, I love that. Usually it's, you are producing and then you become a DJ to be able to play out the music that you're making. It's cool that your paths are actually parallel and allowed you to maybe explore those spaces independently. That sounds like a great journey. How did you come out of the gate with a collab with Nora En Pure?
Actually, I met Nora. Okay, let me see. My memory's a little bit foggy. Where the hell did we meet? I'm trying to remember where we met each other. She's a sweetheart. And we met each other and we were talking about doing some music together. And we kind of kept in touch. So cool. And for me, she's one of the badass girls that's in the industry. So I was like,
yes.
And she sent me a message and she was like, hey, let's do a track. I have this instrumental. Can you do a top line? I write all my music with my wife. We write all the music together. She's an incredible pianist and she's
I'm obsessed with creative couples.
Oh, yay.
I love this.
She's amazing.
Obsessed.
She is, I call her like the melody. I don't know. She's incredible. She's amazing. So I get to sit and she's incredible with choruses. I'm quite good with verses. So we complement each other well. So we started writing. So cool. We found love and it was kind of, that's where it all kind of started. That was one of the first songs we wrote together. So that was kind of the start.
I mean, that is incredible. That's insane.
It's a nice love story.
To come out of the gate with, it's a beautiful love story that, with such a high profile, wonderful artist. It's just, your life seems to be full of magic.
I'm blessed.
If you could book the lineup of your perfect party, who would you book to play alongside yourself?
I know this is I know, but it's a good one. And I mean this. I would actually, you're one of them because I'm a huge fan of yours. No, I mean that. I think you're fucking awesome. Let's just get that out of the gate.
Very sweet. Very sweet.
And
I can't wait to play with you.
But we're probably going to see each other in Brazil at some point very soon, I can imagine. Yes.
Fingers crossed.
I would say Dennis Ferreira. Big, huge fan. Huge fan. How many do I get to say? Like, are we talking festival lineup or do I get to say 4 or 5?
Yeah, just like a 4 or 5.
Sophie Tucker. Big fan of them. Big fan of them. I think they're amazing. Who Made Who?
I can't wait for y'all to meet.
Who Made Who are amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yes. This is a party I would definitely
nice
go to.
One, right? And let's choose one more. Oh, the list is so long. I don't even know. If we're going to go a little bit house, I would say Louis Vega. Yeah.
Ooh! I love
nice
this.
Lineup.
And maybe end with Who Made Who. That feels
right.
That feels
get a little bit
nice.
Of everything.
I loved it. So, and then an epic B2B2B2B. So that sounds like the perfect night. Okay, final question. What advice would you give your younger self?
I know this is cheesy to say, but it's really true. Just keep working your ass off. It's going to pay off at some point. It's going to be really tough. It still is. Just keep working your ass off and don't stop believing in yourself. That's all that matters.
Those are the perfect words. That is, if you just keep going, eventually you just keep going. Oh, I love that. That's I had at the top of my to-do list every day was put your head down, do the work, and don't let the fear in. That's it. You just keep going. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Femme House Radio. I am a huge fan of yours. I love all the work you're doing. I really, really, really hope we get to meet on the road one day, hopefully in Brazil. And I'm very impressed with you. Thank you for being here.
Right back at you. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, really.